Hi, my name is Sonya U, and I'm going to be doing the bread mold experiment. So for my bread mold experiment, the materials I need is a Sharpie, a cup of glass water that's cold, some tape, and we are going to use 3 pieces of potato bread, and we're going to use plain plastic bags that are resealable. So I already made the 3 breads. So one of the breads are going to be in the fridge, and it's going to have a little bit of water on it so it's damp. So while I'm doing this experiment, there's going to be an independent variable and a dependent variable. My independent variable would be the temperatures, and so one of the breads would be in the fridge and it'll be slightly damp and it'll sit in there, and students can record their data of the daily of what their bread would look like each day. And one I already dampened this one. This one would be in the freezer. I labeled freezer on there. And the last one would just be room temperature, and I already labeled the bag. And I need to damp this one too. And I'll leave this in maybe just a room temperature room. I'll damp it so it doesn't drip, just so it's slightly moist. And my dependent variable will just be the time it takes for the mold to grow. And so when you're asking students to do this experiment, they can probably just use a data chart, and they can record their hypothesis and what might happen, and then each day they can students can observe the bread, and then they can write down their data for each day. And students can record and make a daily record, and then they can collect their data and then share maybe even with their group mates. And students can then come as a class and share their data together as a class. Alright, it's been over a week since I've done this bread mold experiment, and sadly my bread did not mold. We can start off with the bread that was in the freezer. The bread that was in the freezer, it did not mold, but the temperature of the bread did get colder and did freeze. It does feel like an ice cube. It's very cold, and it did not grow any mold, as you can see. The bread in my fridge, it was actually in the back of my fridge, and it did get a little mushed and a little flat because, we did have to get groceries, and people did put the groceries on top of the bread, and it did get a little flat, but this bread did not grow mold either. And the last bread, it's the room temperature bread, and that was my prediction. I thought the room temperature bread would grow mold, but it did not. I left it in the living room in a corner, and I thought the dry air from the bacteria would make the bread mold, but it did not mold, sadly. Sometimes your experiments don't work out the way you want to, but that's why you can experiment more than once, and sometimes it works and sometimes it may not. But science is cool, and sometimes you need to experiment more than once to figure out if it'll work or not. Okay, well, thanks for watching.